Hi, and welcome to Two Tired Teachers.
We are coming at you from the Teklanika Campground in Denali National Park. And the campground is located at mile 29.1 of the park road. And there's several things we want to mention that we've done while we were here, and then what's special about this campground. When you enter Denali National Park, you come in on the park road.
Yes.
And the first thing you see is the Riley Creek Campground. And then there's the Mercantile where you get all campground reservations.
And a post office.
Yeah, as you first come in. But the Mercantile and campground reservations for all of the campgrounds.
Yes.
And so we had one night at Riley Creek and 3 here, and that's something else we're going to talk to you about. And then there's the visitor center. You drive on out that park road. There are the sled dogs, kennels, and demonstrations you can go to. And then the furthest you can go is the Savage River.
At 13 miles.
At 13 miles. And then if you're in a private vehicle, you have to turn around. The only way to come down the park road any further is by a bus. And there are a couple of different kinds of buses, and we'll get to that in a minute. Unless you have reservations at the Teklanika Campground. And when you make your reservations, you must reserve 3 consecutive nights in the campground.
Yes.
And when you pick up your reservations, they give you the slip that goes on the post out here, but they also give you a pass, and it's a one-time shot. You can drive that 29 miles one time, but then when you get here, you cannot move your vehicle.
Your vehicle stays in the campsite
Until it's time for you to leave. And if you leave early, the people who came in and were next door to us were only here a little over 24 hours. So they had to reserve 3 nights. Mm-hmm. They didn't have 3 nights to stay, but they got their 1 trip in, 1 trip out. Then, if you want to, you may choose to get a bus pass. And there are 2 different kinds of buses in the park. One is a tan-colored bus and one is a green-colored bus. The tan-colored buses are narrated. Mm-hmm. They have guides that narrate and tell you everything that's going on.
And they're that bargain basement price of $116 for anyone 16 and older.
And then the green buses, if you want to go anywhere, if you want to leave this campground, mm-hmm. you either hike, bike, or ride a bus. And even if you want to go back toward the visitor center, you cannot go unless you ride a bus.
Yes.
Or you leave.
Hike or bike.
Yeah. And so you can get a tech pass is what it's called. And I believe those are $33 a piece.
Yes.
We opted not to do that because we knew we were going to be driving a lot getting here and decided we just want to hang out. We've got our bikes.
Yes.
We can explore that way. But 3 years ago, I believe it was, there was a landslide. It closed the road, so you can't actually go out all 92 miles anyway. And so that was another reason why we opted not to get that bus pass, was because it was going to go further, but not
that
all
much
the way.
further.
And so, but those are just kind of some of the rules of the road. And we've been showing you some pictures of the drive here. It is stunning. One other thing about the drive here. There is a section of the road that if you get it to that section between the top of the hour and 10 minutes after, you have to wait until 10 minutes after to drive through. And that's to give the Dall sheep or any other wildlife a chance to go through unimpeded.
And you may be thinking, that's stupid. They don't have watches. They don't tell time. The reason the park system does that is to make you aware you need to slow down, and if animals are out, you need to let them cross.
And so, since we have been here, we did take a couple of loops went through there are 2 loops in this campground. And folks, there are some really small sites. There are some larger sites.
And
There is a man, when we got here, there was a giant fifth wheel in one of these sites down at the end. I mean, it's at least 40 feet long. I don't know how he got it in there, but he did. Well, when he left, now there's a conversion van.
yeah,
He can have that site.
you don't reserve a specific site.
You just reserve the fact that there will be a site for you. And
Yes.
so keep that in mind as you're coming.
And there are not extra parking spaces.
I am not sure where I guess you could check with the park host and find out if there's somewhere you could park. But, one of the things that we did yesterday, and it was absolutely amazing, there is an amphitheater here. And it's sort of like, I mean, from what I can tell from the schedule, it's like every other night there's a ranger-led program here. We went to the ranger-led program last night. A Bear's Guide to Living Well, I believe is what it was. And it was really, guys, the ranger programs are great and enjoyable. But anyway, just down from the amphitheater, you can go down to the riverbed, the Teklanika riverbed. And the views down there are just absolutely breathtaking.
Well, the campsite itself is very forested, where the grizzlies like to come and hide. The riverbed is tundra.
Well, and it's all of the information says that the riverbed is a major corridor for all types of wildlife. And because I had gone to a ranger program at the Riley Creek about don't step in that, I know for a fact there has been a moose on the main road here in the campground. I recognized that. But anyway, so going down to that riverbed and the views down there, you know, it was just absolutely amazing and beautiful. Getting out and just walking around the campground, going to the ranger program, and then today we rode our bikes up to the overlook, and there's an overlook of the Teklanika River, and it's nice. It's a large stop for buses. There were
both green and tan.
There were, I guess, 3 buses while we were there today, but
the views from there are nothing like the views from down at the riverbed.
Yeah, back the ones right here just off of the campground. And so it's the reason they set this up this way is because this is a preserve and they want to have as few vehicles as possible. And that's why you can't just get out and drive around, is because, you know, they're trying to make the most. Those buses all look to be pretty well full.
Yeah.
And so it's just a very different campground than most. It takes a couple hours to get back here. And so even though it's not that far, it's, once again, a preserve.
Yeah.
One thing I've been kind of surprised at, and that is we can hear periodically the planes or helicopters that are going up to land on Denali. Another thing I'm surprised at, we have an amazing picture of Denali.
Yes.
But we took it at Shaw Pond, which was between Delta Junction and Fairbanks, which is on a different highway. It was 100 miles away, I guess.
Yeah.
But this is a massive mountain, so you can see it from a distance. We have not seen Denali from within the park because it's harder to see it, because if you're, you know, if there are any trees or anything, it's going to block the view. If there are any hills, it's going to block the view.
And we had a ranger tell us, Sharon said, this is a photo I took of Denali, and she said, that's a better picture than you will ever get inside the campground.
Inside the park. Yeah.
It's
the one we took over on, I believe it's Highway 2, which was Alcan that goes all the way up to Fairbanks. Well, it ends at Delta Junction, but the highway keeps going. But anyway, this is unique place. I'm glad we came.
I'm thrilled.
I'm glad that...
it is a beautiful park.
Oh, absolutely stunning.
Parts of it are tundra, and parts of it are forested.
And parts of it are hills, and parts of it are kind of
Yes.
plains, and it's just been... it's been interesting. It's been neat, and I am so glad that we came here. Do want to mention again, we made these reservations on January 5th, and our reservation at Riley Creek was for the night of the 15th, and then our
Of July.
and then our reservations here at Teklanika starting on the 16th. And then the weather has been really different. They said it was really hot in June.
Hasn't been the case in July.
Folks, when we walked down to the river, we were wearing, each of us wearing 2 pairs of pants,
Yes.
2 shirts, and I wore 2 jackets and a hat. Because when the wind, if it's kind of cloudy and there's wind, it is cold. When the sun comes out and there's no wind, it's been comfortable. So,
I wouldn't wear shorts, but it's been jeans.
yeah. So anyway, if we see, we saw a prairie dog. That
And
was
the
just strange.
ptarmigans.
And yeah, birds that are basically the size of chickens. And we know this because we watch Outdoor Boys. And Luke is from Alaska, but he hunts ptarmigan. They turn brown in the summer to match the
Tundra.
the
ground.
yeah. They're kind of camouflaged, and then they're white in the winter. But they're essentially the size of chickens. And I did not have a camera with me yesterday, but there was a full-grown one with several younger. They weren't really baby chicks, but they were younger.
Yes.
And so that was kind of neat. We did see ptarmigan. We did see a prairie dog, which I cannot imagine there being a prairie dog that survives, but evidently. We've seen some squirrels, and I think chipmunks or short-tailed squirrels. But we've not seen wildlife here other than what we've just named.
But in both the ranger programs, they stress there are grizzlies and there are moose. And the moose like the campsites.
Especially down at the Riley Creek, it's a much larger campground, and that's more of their habitat. There aren't as many bear here because so much of the water is glacially fed. Okay, we have now left the Teklanika Campground and actually done our laundry, emptied our tanks, etc., filled up with fresh water, and are now on our way to see about a free camping spot on the Denali Highway, which is another one of those gravel highways here in Alaska. But anyway, couple of amendments we want to make about what we said in this video. One is, you can see the mountain from within the park when you have a glorious, clear day.
Yes.
In my opinion, it's harder to get the perspective that close.
Yeah.
But it was an amazing view, and it is an awe-inspiringly impressive mountain. And then the other thing we wanted to correct, we said this in the Riley Campground video and in the Teklanika video, we said there are 4 dump stations.
Yeah.
And when we got there, the first 3 were full, and I went to the 4th lane, and actually it is a fresh water fill.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming it's a little bit more like for conversion vans, those sort of things that don't actually have much of a holding tank. So, wanted to correct that. The left 3 are dump stations with potable water. So, we just wanted to give you the best information we possibly could. But anyway, this has been a fun stop, and we're just gonna go across on the Denali Highway probably for a night or 2. We're gonna go down to Teklanika, meet that mayor. If you don't know what we're talking about, stay tuned for the next episode of Alaska on a Budget. As always, thanks for watching Two Tired Teachers.